temples were founded by the Goswamis. And now it's such a bustling, huge city. And actually that's, even 50 years ago it wasn't. And that's really due to in their lineage, one of the disciples were founded by the Goswamis. And now it's one of their disciples, Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. He actually popularized Vrindavan, made it known to the whole world, and now it's a world tourist holy pilgrimage site. And actually, my wife and I will be going in 2 weeks. Yeah, so as well. So
keep you in prayer.
Yes, keep us in prayers. We'll need it because my wife, she's pregnant as well, and so it's a little bit of a risk that we're taking, but we're.
Praise God.
Yes, we need a charge. We need a charge. Just like what we're doing right now is called sadhu sangha. And in the Vedic Shastras, this is the number one activity for spiritual advancement is sadhu sangha. In the Mundaka Upanishad, I believe, 1-12, it talks about the need to receive knowledge from a bona fide authority. Actually, the word is guru. So we need, even Jesus was telling his disciples, now this gets weaponized and used, and I think in many inappropriate ways, but that's just my humble opinion, or not so humble opinion. But he says, nobody comes to the Father except through me. But if you look at the Greek and how that was laid out, he was speaking to somebody. He wasn't speaking to everybody for all of eternity. He was speaking directly to his disciples. And so, meaning that if you want knowledge of God, you have to come through me. I am the teacher, And so ultimately, that's the same way we have to do it as well. It's not, we can't just think, I'll figure it out all by myself. Bala is here with his son, Kashik. Kashik, Haribol!
Haribol!
Haribol! I'm so happy to see you, Kashik. I've been missing you. So Bala is here with his son. So when Kashik was small, Bala was taking so much extra attention and care of Kashik and Kani. And so it's not good practice as a parent, right, to let your toddler just wander off into the street. Why? Because they'll get into trouble, danger, they don't necessarily have knowledge how to walk the proper paths in this world. They might get hit by a car, anything could happen. But actually we're all like spiritual toddlers. And yet we think, let me just wander around throughout the spiritual, the cosmic expanse. I'll figure it out. No. What will you figure out with your own limited consciousness? That's why this principle of sadhu sangha is so important. Sangha, of what? And Krishna, he says in Bhagavad Gita, how important it is to seek out the knowers of the truth. That's what a sadhu is. One who is following the principles of sat. The principles of truth. We need to associate with sadhus. If we're not associating with sadhus, and one of the things is going to be talked about in this verse today, we're going to associate with other types of people or energy, and really what's going to happen. Jesus actually makes it really well known. There was a story, there was a pastime where there was, Jesus was making his rounds through, I forget what city, and he was preaching and doing so many wonderful miracles and things. And many people were following him all over the place. But there was this one man who said, well, my Lord, I wish to follow you, but my father's funeral, he just passed away. Please let me go and bury his body and do all the rites and the rituals and this, that, and the other, and then I'll come and follow you. And Jesus knew very likely that once he gets back with his family, they'll convince him otherwise. So he said, let the dead bury the dead. If you wish to have eternal life, you come with me. But unfortunately, that man could not do it. His family attachments or his worldly attachments were too strong. And he went back to bury his father, and he never was reported to go back and pursue eternal life. So for those of us who are, seeking, Jesus also is well known for saying, what will set us free? Who knows?
Knowledge.
Kind of.
Understand.
The realized knowledge is what?
Self.
Yeah.
Know thyself.
That's one thing. He says the truth will set you free.
Truth.
The truth will set you free. He's saying the truth is what offers liberation. That's what, liberation is. That's what moksha is freedom. Freedom from what? Suffering. freedom from, bondage, attachment. The truth is what will set us free. If we actually understand, like you kind of said, if we have this high tier knowledge, we can be set free from all these things. So, to associate in sadhu sangha, that's the definition of a sadhu, one who sees the truth. And if you associate, you get sangha, then the truth has you become also impacted, then one day you could become a sadhu. That's what we're here to do, is give like a little training ground where we can share the qualities of being a sadhu or a knower of truth. So we're going to go, what page is verse 2 in this little book that we have here? What is that, Meghna? 14. Oh. Text 2, it's page 14. So the text 1 was, a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak the mind's demands, the actions of anger and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. This is what a sadhu looks like. He can tolerate, and it was mentioned, ultimately all of his faculties, his speech, what's on his mind, what he even gets angry over, and the urges of his tongue, belly, and genitals are all used for the Lord. Everything is in the highest, and that's the absolute truth. God is the principle of the absolute truth. So even here, Prabhupada was giving many examples. When we have the urge to speak, I'm speaking right now. But my duty is to speak about the Lord. When my mind is demanding something, Krishna, he tells us in Bhagavad Gita what to do with our mind. Always think of me. The actions of anger, like Jesus, he was angry when people were blaspheming and desecrating a temple of the Lord. We could be angry when people are harming the devotee or blaspheming God. We not to say we have to necessarily murder them, but we can be very strong when people are doing like this. And ultimately, the tongue, belly, and genitals, the tongue in all traditions, there's a religious way to properly offer the food and sacrifice. We are as well, we offer all our food. You're going to all eat a feast that's offered under sacrifice to the Lord. We fill our belly with these things, but we do everything in a controlled way, or at least we strive to. And even the genitals. Jesus talked about the brahmacharya path, or walking the path of a eunuch. But also we glorify that path. But also if you get married and you have children and raise them to be God conscious, this is also the proper use of the genitals. So all of these things have to be done. This type of person can make disciples all over the world. And number one is he's sober. He's not intoxicated by anything. He's completely sober. Now, in text 2 is the verse we're going to talk about today. Very important verse. These are the things that will destroy your bhakti. Now remember, bhakti is the number one activity you can do in this world. And bhakti is the number one knowledge that you can come to in this world. So we're not interested at all in destroying that. We're interested in cultivating that. So this is going to tell. Now this is all from the Vedic Shastras. And he's pulling out this nectar of instruction, or the 11 most essential teachings that will allow us to cultivate bhakti, which is the topmost action and topmost knowledge. The number one duty for the living entity, and which promises us to always be satisfied in all circumstances, if we can cultivate this. So repeat after me. Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha Jana sangascha lolyamcha Shadbir bhaktir vinashyati Atyahara prayasascha Prajalpo niyamagraha Jana sangascha lolyamcha Shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. I love, isn't Sanskrit so wonderful? It's poetry, it's musical, it's so wonderful. Anyone else want to try? Maybe, Tanmay, why don't you give it a go back there? Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jana sangascha lolyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. Repeat after me. Atyahara, overeating or too much collecting. Prayasaha, over endeavoring. Cha, and. Prajalpa, idle talk. Niyama, rules and regulations. It's actually niyama, I'm sorry. Agraha, too much attachment to. Or agraha, too much neglect of. Janasanga, association with worldly minded persons. Cha, and. Lolyam, ardent longing or greed. Cha, and. Should be, by these six. Bhakti, devotional service. Vinashyati, is destroyed. Remember, this is the number one teaching of all spiritual tradition. Oh, yes. So remember, this is the number one spiritual teaching of all spiritual traditions, is to cultivate this bhakti, or this loving service, this love, this devotion. So we don't want to destroy it. We definitely don't want to destroy it. So here are the activities. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1 is eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. So this is number 1. Eating, consuming too much, and also, collecting too much. I need this, I need that, I need this. Whether it's in the mouth or also in the home, or, all these things, too much collecting. 2, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. There's mundane is that which has ultimately no spiritual value. Mundane are like worldly things, pleasures of the flesh. Someone give me some examples for mundane things.
Pleasures of the flesh.
Yeah.
Lusting other people.
Okay, that's a good one. Like for instance, let's just say you have some weird goal that I need to bring home 6 different ladies this week, or something like this. It may even be possible, but it's such an over endeavor, and you'll have to do so many type of activities to do it. But ultimately, what's the goal? It's not ultimately. It's really not worth it.
No, it's not.
And it destroys what is worth it, and that's bhakti. Your loving endeavors instead. So 3, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. This is called prajalpa. Just to talk. Oh, what's the weather going on today? Or, oh, did you hear what the, sports activity, or this, that, and the other thing. When we talk, it should be meaningful. Come on in. Who's here? Parth. Wow, I knew it. I knew he would come today. I did. Parth normally tells me, I will try. And when he says, I will try, it means he will absolutely not come. But then he assured me this morning, after we had a nice talk, he assured me, he said, I will come today. And I was like, with this type of language, he's definitely going to come. So he's here. I'm very happy, Parth. Yes, Terry.
Oh, no, I was just...
waving to Parth. Parth, meet Terry. New guest we have, and he's very nice. We're very happy to have Terry.
Thank you so much.
I look forward to twice a week to see you now, Terry. From now on.
As long as I got a ride, though.
Well, you talk to Tage. He might be the guy. We'll see. So anyway, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. What should we talk about? We should talk about sat, that which is true. And ultimately topics related to the Lord, which is the highest truth. But that which is ultimately beneficial. So all of the Vedic knowledge, this should be the prime talks. These should be the prime talks, not how's the weather, and look at let's have this strategy how we can make more money, or let's have this strategy how we can get more ladies, or let's have this strategy how we can get this, that, and the other thing. of the material world. So this will destroy bhakti. 4, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations. So this is a tough word. It's niyama, which means rules and regulations. And there's 2 words here. Agraha, which is too much attachment to, and agraha, too much neglect of. So there's like kind of a rule in Sanskrit. When a word ends in a vowel, and then the next word begins in another vowel, it can kind of be combined. But that means the word can have 2 meanings. If, let's just say, agraha is, so it's niyamagraha, right? If the niyamagraha is referring to agraha, that means rules and regulations with too much attachment. But if it's niyamagraha and it's referring to agraha, it means too much neglect of. So it actually has 2 meanings. So the 2 meanings are practicing the rules and regulations only for the sake of following them. So you have too much attachment for the rules and regulations. All right, I must follow this Vedic teaching. I can't do this. And usually what ends up happening is you'll break even more important rules based on your very menial understanding of the rules. So let's just say you like to do fasting. There's scriptural reasons to do fasting. So you might do fasting on Ekadashi, which is very good. Ekadashi's in a few days, Saturday. If you want to do some fasting on Ekadashi, go ahead. But anyhow, so let's say you decide, I'm going to fast on Ekadashi. But then you have, because you're fasting, you're angry and you're like a little like fired up, and you start chastising or criticizing or blaspheming Vaishnavas, which is like the number 1 rule in the Shastras not to do is to disrespect a saintly person. This is like the number 1 rule not to do. So, but you're so caught up on your other rule that you're following. Well, I'm going to fast on Ekadashi, but then you're not paying attention to breaking the highest type of rules. What good has it done? So this is called niyamagraha. And then the other one, niyamagraha, is the not caring for the rules at all. Like, oh, I'm a transcendental being. I don't need, it's all an illusion anyway. I don't need rules. Rules aren't for me. Rules are for you guys. This is another niyamagraha. This will destroy your bhakti, actually. Nobody is transcendental to the rules. But we should know why to follow them, and we should learn to prioritize. We're not going to be able to do everything, but we should do the most essential things. We should take the highest essence, and we should extract that, and then see what we can do. So anyway, complete neglect of the rules or being hyper-focused on rules that might not be that important will actually destroy your bhakti. So we have to understand and that's why we need to do this in guidance. It talked about the number one important thing is to recognize a teacher who is completely, who's qualified. You've got to find a qualified teacher. I have way too much to work on. Ask my wife. That I can be anybody's qualified teacher, at least on the long term. But I can say that we're connected to very qualified practitioners and teachers. And so one of the gems is they've, under their guidance, we're even doing this and speaking and setting up these programs. And so what you can get here is our the guidance that we're receiving, and that we're just the messengers of giving. So that's our humble attempt. So now number 5 is associating with worldly-minded persons, and it says here who are not interested in Krishna consciousness, which we understand is the highest type of truth. It's called jana sangha, worldly. Jana is worldly, mundane. So this is it could be hard. Hanging out with the neighbors or the friends and this and that, but just for the sake of worldly gathering, there's no real spiritual purpose. Like right here, we're hanging out with all of our neighbors and friends. But what's the subject matter? People are coming to hear about the truth of the Lord. It's different. It's on a completely different platform. But what's happening at most parties? The way my friends and relatives party is they put on the football game or they put on the sporting event and everyone eats food they probably shouldn't be eating, and they talk about things that earlier, unnecessarily, about mundane subject matters. It'll destroy you. It'll destroy your bhakti. You must Now, everyone, like me and Parth had a really nice conversation this morning, because Parth, he works very, very hard. But, like, just like most of us, if we go to our place of work, it's not like the place of work is going to be only spiritual people work there. Right? No. Most people have worldly endeavors. Most of the world is worldly. Hence, worldly. So ultimately, but it's said, Jesus says that we should be in the world, but not of it.
Exactly.
So when we associate with the world, we should try and bring the conversations about the Lord, about the truth. And trust me, when you do that enough, the worldly people don't want to hang out with you anyway. They're like, oh my God, shut up. You know, what are you talking about again? All your crazy God stuff.
Yeah.
Just leave us alone. Stop trying to convert us, or, you know, whatever they're thinking. That's fine. So if they're meant to leave, they'll leave anyway. So no problem. But keep going that way. So, you know, but don't, no more than necessary. I was telling this to Parth. Just do your duty and then get out. Go, you know, go find a sadhu association or those who will speak. And the goal is, if you're a family man, like Bala and Kaushik, look, they're two family people. And they run a center down the road that emphasizes about Vedic truth, about jnana, a really core principle of the Vedas. This is good, actually. This is so good. We should do like this. With our friends and family, we should speak of high subject matters. And if they don't want to, or they're committed not to, then all right, just give them their distance, give them their space, and associate with at the bare necessities. Don't let them kill your vibe. If you're trying to vibe high, you know, as the youth, this is youth lingo. If you're trying to vibe high, you know, go with those who are, you know, what did the hippies say? Your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you've got a high vibe, you know, you get a high tribe. That's what sadhu sangha is. We're trying to get a high tribe. We need that in our life. These things are so essential to cultivate bhakti. And then the last is being greedy for mundane achievements. Lolium. So, you know, I don't know. Greed is so rampant. It could mean I want to eat the finest things. I want to experience the finest pleasures of this, that, and the other. This material acquisition, that material acquisition. There's so many things that we can be greedy for. But actually, greed can be a very good thing. It's actually, if we're greedy for the Lord, that's the best thing. And we do anything, and you know, that we can to get to the Lord and get back to sadhu sangha, which is what we're doing now. It completely purifies. All we have to do is talk about these things together, and it just completely, whatever the worldly consciousness was there, it's just like smashed to pieces. So just keep doing like this. This is the number one thing. So let's read a little bit of Prabhupada's purport, and then when I notice you guys losing the attention, then we'll do kirtan again. So, purport. Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Since all conditioned living beings are under the control of the Lord's third energy, this is going to get a little bit, some Siddhanta here. This material world is designed so that one is obliged to work. You must work. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has three primary energies or potencies. The first is called Antaranga Shakti, or the internal potency. The second is called Tatastha Shakti, or the marginal potency. Marginal means right on the edge. Like if you go to the beach, there's that marginal point where the water begins and the shore ends. That's what marginal means. And the third is called Bahiranga Shakti, or the external potency. The living entities constitute the marginal potency, and they are situated between the internal and external potencies. Being subordinate as eternal servants. This is all from Bhagavad Gita, by the way. Well, the Lord, Prabhupada is going to explain that. Being subordinate as eternal servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Jivatmas, or atomic living entities, must remain under the control of either the internal or external potency. When they are under the control of the internal potency, they display their natural constitutional activity, namely constant engagement in the devotional service of the Lord. This is stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:13. Mahatmanas tumam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajantyananya manaso Gyatva bhutarim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. Daivim prakritim, the divine energy. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So kind of to put this in a more easily digestible way, and maybe touch upon the Western ethos. There is us, who's in the world, and then there's the bad energy, the sinful energy, and then there's the good energy, or the spiritual energy, the holy, the sacred energy. So we, just like, anyone knows, like when you're raising kids, you don't want to put your kids around other bad kids. Why? Because your kids start acting bad. You want to put your kids around good kids because, they're good. He's a good influence on him. We're influenced. We're influenced by our environment. There's many scientists, they have this nature versus nurture argument, right? What is actually their nature, and then what has been nurtured due to the environment. So this is actually, we have to be very cautious with ourselves. What environment am I putting myself in? And we have to see. Yes, we have to survive, so that means some work has to be done in this world. Everyone has different duties, very unique to yourselves. But after that, what environment are we putting in? What environment are we creating? Is it one committed to Sat, or the truth? That ultimately liberating, wonderful thing that will eventually lead to divine pleasure and bhakti? Or is it going to lead us deeper into worldly bondage and attachment? We have to honestly assess. And until one has reached enlightenment, the answer will be bondage. So you have to take to the enlightening process. So anyhow, Krishna is talking about the great souls are under the protection of the divine nature. They're fully engaged in what? Bhajantyananya manaso. Their minds are always one-pointed in bhajan, in which is worship, which is ultimately the goal of bhakti, leads to bhajan. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So this is Bhagavad Gita, or maybe known as the Gita Upanishad. The word Mahatma refers to those who are broad-minded. Mahatma is a great soul. Atma is soul, Maha great. Who are broad-minded, not cripple-minded. Cripple-minded persons, weak-minded persons, are always engaged in devotional service. Can we get Terry a chair? You need a chair, Terry?
No, I need to use the restroom.
Restroom is here. Maybe, Davey, that looks like someone's in there. Can we?
No, he came out.
Oh, he just came out. Okay, Terry, get on in there. No problem.
Thank you.
All right. Cripple-minded persons always engage in satisfying their senses, sometimes expand their activities in order to do good for others through some ism like nationalism, humanitarianism, or altruism. They may reject personal sense gratification for the sense gratification of others, like the members of their family, community, or society, either national or international. Actually, all this is extended sense gratification, from personal to communal to social. This may all be very good from the material point of view, but such activities have no spiritual value. The basis of such activity is sense gratification, either personal or extended. Only when a person gratifies the senses of the Supreme Lord can he be called a Mahatma, or broad-minded person. So this is talking about what the Mahatmas do in Bhagavad Gita, and often it's a little bit of a shot. I don't know if you could tell who is the most popular Mahatma that you know, Peter? Yes, Gandhi. But actually, if you look at Gandhi's activities, it was all worldly isms. Politics and bodily identification, liberation to the Indian people. But we needed to liberate all people from even thinking that they are this material body. This is what the real Mahatmas defined by Bhagavad Gita do. So anyhow, that's happening. But very strong-minded persons, they know the duty of the Mahatmas. And they bring people to the conclusion of the Vedas. Not just some simple worldlyism, well, I go to the food pantry and I serve there. There's nothing wrong. It's very good to feed people. But what are we going to do after this? We're all going to feed you all. Free, no problem. But what is it we really want to give you? The truth. But we make you sit through the truth for some time and then we feed you. So you actually leave benefited. If we're just feeding you, there's only so much benefit that we can give. But if we give you the truth, then we can actually benefit you. So like this, this is the program of the Mahatmas. In the above quoted verse from Bhagavad Gita, the word Daivim Prakritim referred to the control of the internal potency or the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This pleasure potency is manifested as Srimati Radharani. She's the deity of this pleasure potency, or her expansion Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. When the individual jiva souls are under the control of the internal energy, their only engagement is the satisfaction of Krishna or Vishnu, the satisfaction of God. This is the position of a Mahatma. If one is not a Mahatma, he is a Duratma, or a cripple-minded person. Such mentally crippled Duratmas are put under the control of the Lord's external potency, Mahamaya. Maha is great. What's Maya? Not good. What does it mean?
It's like the illusion.
Illusion. You got a definition, Bala? I've heard it means that which is not. That which is not. So we become illusioned. We become illusioned. You know, many of you probably have had this experience. You really wanted something in your life, but then when you saw what it actually was, or you got it, you're like, that is not what I thought it was. You know, probably many of us, especially in the West, our relationships in early parts of life are like, whoa, that is not what I thought was going to be the result of this thing. Right? Yes.
Illusions, right?
Yeah, so many illusions. But this is actually an energy of the Lord, actually meant to kind of punish us for our cripple-mindedness, for being lazy and attracted to sense gratificatory activity, for illusory activity. And so, we get cripple-minded results. We are illusioned. Many illusions are happening in this world, too many to count. This whole world is actually said by the Vedic understanding to be Maya. But there is a way out of Maya. The liberating force, instead of associating with Maya and getting deeper into Maya, we can associate with the Daivim Prakriti, the divine nature. That's what Krishna recommends. What is that? We were just talking about it, how important it was. Magna? What is it? What's Daivim Prakriti? How about you, Parth? Yes, but what is it? What's it's going to be its representative? Krishna's representative, which is Radharani. No, but we don't. It's easier than that. We're doing it right now. Tanmay. Yes. Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu, those who are representatives of the truth. Yeah. Yeah. The spiritual personalities. That's the Daivim Prakriti.
Representing the truth.
Yes, those who are committed, the Mahatmas, they are the Daivim Prakriti. They associate with each other. And things that are Karshna, things that are related to Krishna. You know, they do different worship practices for Krishna, different bhajans, different, chanting the names of God, taking to these practices. But it's all done in Sadhu Sangha. Yes. What page? Who knows? Who can tell? 16. Peter, show him exactly where. All right. So let's see if we can keep going. Indeed, all living entities within this material world are under the control of Mahamaya, whose business is to subject them to the influence of threefold miseries. Adidaivik klesha, sufferings caused by the demigods, such as droughts, earthquakes, and storms. In Syracuse, it's just a ton of snow. And the sun never comes out here. What a klesha that is. I've never been in a place where the sun does not come out. I'm just shocked every winter. I'm like, how can this happen? Anyway, so this is Adidaiva Kleshas. We cannot control the natural elements. These are said to be the realm of the demigods. Adibotic Klesha, sufferings caused by other living entities, like insects or enemies. You know, that guy cut you off. Today I had somebody leave a really, really bad Airbnb review. And I was just like so angry at this person. Like, how could you like leave such a review? Like, it was just very inconsiderate and very like, and I didn't like it all. I felt it was absolutely an adibotic suffering because I'm attached to my Airbnb superhost status. Now I'm farther away. Anyhow, and the last is, but insects, mosquitoes bite you, a tiger might maul you, a bear, any enemy that we find in other living entities is adibotic. And the last is adiatmic. Our sufferings of our own body and mind. Even when we're like, all right, well, I'm fine with the environment and I'm fine with all the others. Yeah, you're going to still have your own adiatmic sufferings, your own mental sufferings, your own physical limitations and sufferings. This is a guarantee here. You're going to suffer in this material world. Yeah, I mean, everybody, we're all doing it. We're suffering since time immemorial here. If you're here, you're suffering. So ultimately, that's why we need to be freed from this suffering. This in the Vedas, it's called moksha. But Jesus is saying the truth is what sets us free. We need to be free from this. We need to learn the truth of this world. If we don't understand what's going on here, we're just going to keep suffering over and over and over and over. And it's just never going to be... and even when we die, we think it's all going to be good. Maybe I'll stop suffering there. No, you'll go right back because what happens is your consciousness dictates where you go in the next life. If your consciousness is... in illusion, it goes towards illusory things, and back into the samsara you go. So we need to free ourselves from these things. And the way it's done is actually, like said in the Mundaka Upanishad, it's through the teacher who knows the way out. You have to find the person who knows the way out and follow them so diligently. It's not I'll figure myself out. You're in a forest so deep,
You need the angels in there.
You need angels, but you need the angels to line you up with the right person who's a guide, a tour guide. Like, no, I know this forest. Come on, follow me. That's what Jesus meant when he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and nobody's coming to the Father except through me. Because he was the one who could see. He knew the way out. So, and even him, he took... he wanted John to baptize him, and John was the leading way shower at that point. And even he followed by example. He probably didn't even need it. He was a divine personality. Even Krishna, when Krishna comes, he takes a guru. He leads by example. Sandipani Muni. When Lord Chaitanya came, he took a guru and followed his guru's instructions. And he made all of his disciples, not from him, but also take gurus. And why? Because this is the system. This is how. If you want the Lord's mercy, you find the Lord's apostle or disciple and you follow that person diligently. Yes. Aren't you glad you came? Yes, this is good. So, let's finish this. Daiva bhutatma hetava, the conditioned soul subjected to these three miseries by the control of the external energy suffer various difficulties. So this is the energy that we've been a part of, the suffering energy. But actually in the bhakti or the internal energy, there is no suffering. In that energy, there's no suffering. And if there is suffering, it actually, oftentimes it talks about Radharani's suffering in separation from Krishna. But her suffering is like the most concentrated levels of bliss that you can even imagine. It's completely different. So anyway, that's, and it talks about how the gopis are suffering in separation from Krishna. In many pastimes, it seems like the Pandavas suffering, but actually their suffering was not on the same level. They were not under this external energy. Their suffering actually led them to even deeper and deeper bliss. Even Jesus' suffering on the cross, he was finding deeper levels of bliss. and able to show so much compassion and love, saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And then also the other person who was a criminal on the cross, the one was scoffing at Jesus, and the other had so much faith and belief in him. And he said, and he was, in ecstasy, telling him that you'll join me in paradise. So this is a completely different level when you're associating with the divine energy. I experienced this in jail personally. I went to jail at one point, and it was very it was a very unfortunate circumstance in my life. I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. Just weed related, but still, when you have enough of it, the cops don't like it. So anyhow, they put me in a jail cell, and I remember, you know what? I don't know what to do except just call out to the Lord. And I just chanted the whole time. The cops were interviewing me, and I'm chanting. I made them wait until I finished my mantra, and then I would tell them all their questions. They were freaked out. I think it was that got me out of jail quickly, because I don't want to deal with this guy anymore. So anyway, but I was so scared being in jail. I just kept praying. And then they locked me in the cell, and then I saw my toilet situation, and I was fasting. It was a Kadashi, and I was somehow fasting, but still went and picked up weed when I shouldn't have. Anyway, I was suffering like anything, but you know what? I was like, you know what? I don't care. No better time than to surrender to the Lord. And I just started singing in the jail cell, and then I sang louder, and I sang louder, and then I sang louder, and I was feeling tears of ecstasy coming to me. I felt so much love. And at one point, the cop, he normally for having what I had, I've seen it in my town, they'll put it in the newspaper, they they want to, look who we caught. But for whatever reason, when they were taking my mug shot, I was apologizing to the cop because I lied to him when he got there, and he asked me if I was like, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have lied, I felt like I was in danger. And he was so freaked out but I was having so much love for him, and I felt it was crazy. I felt so much love just because I was trying to practice bhakti in a really difficult situation. I'm suffering, I'm in jail. People suffer in jail. No one's really happy to go to jail. But all of a sudden, because I'm practicing bhakti and I'm forced into this sincere position, I'm experiencing so much of this love coming. And he took my photo, and I felt I had the biggest smile on my face that I ever had in any picture. And I checked the newspaper for days. I really wanted to see this photo. I don't think they put it up for whatever reason. Probably because they didn't want to be how can we say that we arrested this really happy person? Anyhow. But what ended up happening is at the crescendo of my singing in jail, what ended up happening is the door opened, and he's like, all right, come with me. I'm like, all right, here we go. And they brought me in a room. They laid out everything in front of me. And what they ended up finding, ended up telling me, they chastised me. You shouldn't have all these things. I say, I hate it. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. And make sure they leave with some prasad. Okay, Michael took care of you guys. What ended up happening was that they let me go. They changed the law, Obama changed the law 2 months earlier, and what was going to be, usually you wait 3 weeks before a trial in jail, and then you get a trial and you see what happens. They let me go in 3 hours. And, I didn't know, because as far as I knew, 2 months earlier, I'm in jail for 3 weeks. But I was surrendered, and I was ready. But then Krishna was like, all right, cool, you got it. Here's your get out of jail free card. I still had to go through a bunch of other stuff that was suffering. But I saw it personally that in a position where I'm suffering, by engaging in bhakti sincerely, I was experiencing levels of bliss I still don't experience. Really, Krishna should throw me back in jail. Maybe I'll actually... watch what happens. But, maybe Krishna should throw me back in jail. Maybe I can actually really be sincere again. So anyway... Bhakti is love. Loving devotion. When you love, the activity that you do is service. So loving service, and so when that love is engaged in the Lord, This is the number one thing. And this, just like Jesus said, love God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength, and will. And then you'll naturally love everything related to God, which is all others. And you'll love everyone else as you love yourself. So, but if you first have to, in order to love somebody, you have to understand them. You know, just I'm just meeting you. You know, but I don't just meet you and be like, yo, I love Terry, you know, like, or Terry's like, yeah, I love Ram. No, you got to get to know me. Exactly. You know, I get to know Terry. I'm like, wow, I do love Terry. You know, or sometimes you get to know someone, I'm like, dang, they're hard to love. You know, like, something like that. But you know what? Over time, the more you understand someone, the more you have the capacity to love them. Mm-hmm. So the more you understand God and the more you try and understand God, the more your capacity to love will increase. So that's what we're looking for. We're trying to teach people about God and then give them the capacity to actually love Him and experience what love is, because God's the source of all love. Mm-hmm. The real pleasure, Rama, that's what it means when we're chanting. So, and actually Rama is actually a biblical name as well. In Jesus' lineage mentioned in the book of Matthew, it gives like a descendant of lineage, and Ram is actually one of the names in the descendants. I thought that was very interesting when I read that. So anyhow, these are just some things. I think we'll stop here. Is there any questions or discussion points? Anyone wants to clarify anything or?
The Rama. Now, when they called, I seen it in the Bible too. Was it calling out to God? Yeah, right.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the Hebrew meaning of Rama is, but I know the Sanskrit's the oldest language, and Rama means the source of all pleasure. You know, like so that's my understanding of Rama. But there might be a different. I'm not a Hebrew scholar, but I do know that Sanskrit predates Hebrew, and that Hebrew actually stems from Sanskrit. The Sanskrit is the oldest language in existence, and so actually. I was talking with somebody who was creating, he's like a big top government officer in India, creating AI. And he actually said that if they designed the artificial intelligence to work with Sanskrit rather than in English, because of the perfectness of the language or the way it works, it would work so much faster and more efficient if they use Sanskrit rather. But he's like, but that's not what the world speaks, so we...
Did you say Sanskrit?
Sanskrit is that language. We were singing Sanskrit, you know, when Atyahadas, you know, when we were doing like that.
Well, this is my first time around, but I believe I'm going to come back again.
Yeah. I'm really great. Yeah, I'm very happy that you enjoy it, and we're excited. Maybe we'll have to figure it out. So that would be really wonderful. But anything else from anybody? Question?
Are these books to keep?
You can keep that one.
No, if you don't want
No, that's for you. It's your gift. No problem. So, anything from anyone? You're all enlightened? All right. Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, that was our presentation today. We're going to do a kirtan now to end. I think it would be nice if you guys all stood up for this kirtan, because unless you don't want to, if you have a really good capacity to sit, that's wonderful. But now, what we're going to do is we're going to chant that Maha Mantra again. Actually, you know what might be nice is, because we read from Rupa Goswami and Srila Prabhupada's commentary, do you guys want to chant a quick prayer? And we can... it's called the Shad Goswami Astakam. Anyone who's technologically savvy, you should get this up and then share it with your neighbor so everyone can read along. And we'll chant it all together, and then afterwards we'll chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And we'll ask for the blessings of these great personalities who shared these great saints and sages. And then we'll chant to the Lord and ask the Lord to bless us. And I need one assistant over here to change it. Michael, you need to play an instrument, so I need another assistant. Okay. So we're going to sing it all together. We're not going to do a kirtan because it's quite long. So, and it's a little difficult, but just try and follow along. And we're just going to, this prayer is getting our blessings from these 6 Goswamis who have brought these teachings to us in the Western world. Krishnot kirtana gana nartana paro premamri. Sorry, let's restart. Krishnot kirtana gana nartana paro premamritambu nidhi Dira dira jana priyo priyakaro nirmatsaro pujito Shri Chaitanya kripa bado bhuvi bhuvo Bhadavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vichara Naika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako Sorry. Lokanam Hita Karino Tribhuvane Manyo Saranyakaro Radha Krishna Padada Vinda Bhajanandena Mataliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunanuvana Navidho Shraddha Samridhyan Vihito Papotapani Quintano Tanubitam Govinda Ganamritai Anandamburi Badanaika Nipuno Kaivalya Nistadako Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Tyatva Turnama Sesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sadatuchava Bhutva Dina Ganesha Kokarunaya Kopina Kanta Shrito Gopi Bhavara Samita Dilahadi Kalola Magno Muho Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Sankhya Purvak Kujat Kokila Hamsa Sarasagana Kine Mayura Kuhule Nana Radnani Padamula Vitapa Shri Yukta Vrindavane Radha Krishna Mahani Sampabhajato Jivartha Doyo Mudha Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natibi Kalavasani Krito Nitra Hara Vihara Kari Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo Radha Krishna Guna Smrite Madhurimanandena Samohito Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayogo Shri Jiva Gopalako Radha Kunda Tatika Linda Tanaya Tire Chavam Shivate Premon Madhava Sada Sesha Dasaya Grasto Pramato Sada Gayanto Chakadade Gunavadam Bhava Vibhuto Muda Vande Rupa Sanatano Agayogo Shri Jiva Gopalako Hey Radhe Raja Devi Kechalalite Hey Nanda Sunokuta Shri Govardhana Kalpa Padapatale Kalindi Vane Kuta Goshanta Viti Sarvato Rajapure Kede Mahavivalo Vande Rupa Sanatano Ragayogo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raguyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raguyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raguyugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Okay, now we'll do kirtan. Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Everybody Namaho Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bolo. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarin. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Tanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gora. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gora Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna. From the heart. Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna, from all your heart, out of love. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. From all your heart, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone, Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare, from the heart, Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Sachi Sutta Jaya Nimai Nitai, Jaya Sachi Sutta Jaya Nimai Nitai. Jaya Prahlad Narasimha, Jaya Prahlad Narasimha, Jaya Prahlad Narasimha, Jaya Prahlad Narasimha. Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Vrinda Devi, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Vrinda Devi. Jaya Ladu Gopal, Jaya Ladu Gopal, Jaya Ladu Gopal, Jaya Ladu Gopal. Jaya Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara, Guru Parampara. Nitagora Haribo, 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 Nitagora Haribo. Haribo, Nitai Gora Haribo. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Srila Gurudev. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki, Nanta Koti Vaishnavinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaura Premanande. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. That last prayer was bowing, offering our humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnavas, or the spiritual devotees of the Lord. So my obeisances to all of you. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for you all. Nothing's going to happen without the collective community here. So thank you guys so much. So that's it. That's our program today. Terry, thanks for joining us for the first time. It's very nice, but we hope to see you again. You're like a ball of positive energy, so please come bring that positive energy, with us. It's a huge contribution. Enthusiasm. We're going to learn next week. Well, I don't know if we'll get to it next week. We're going to maybe go deeper into that verse that we just did. But eventually, the next week are the things that we should do to cultivate bhakti. The first is the things we should not do, and the things we should do. And the first one is utsaha, which is enthusiasm, and you have it. So keep up the enthusiasm. Use it for good things, because we can be enthusiastic about bad things too. Yeah. Come. We got our next program is Sunday. So if you want to come, maybe we'll see. There's a couple guys with cars here. We could talk to them. Usually people are real friendly with giving rides. So we'll see what happens. I don't want to speak for anyone, but maybe it's possible. But if you want to come Sunday, that's our next program at 11:30 in the afternoon. So and that's our bigger program. That's like a lot more energy. So I'm excited to see you then. So anyhow, please everyone go eat. The feast is on us. The boys cooked it between Parth and Michael and Tanmay and Piyush. So they cook it and they offer it with love to the Lord, and we're just so grateful for you guys as well. And this is the most important part. Eat the spiritual food that the Lord has provided. So thank you who joined online as well. And we'll see you all soon. And also, we're counting down till India.